This is Think Twice MTG. I'm Alan, and you're going to watch some paper magic today. This is another edition of Basement FNM. For those of you who aren't aware, this is just a friendly gathering in my basement when we just play some good old matches of Magic. Get to watch some paper modern, which is really the best way to watch Magic. We all love playing in paper, and while playing online is certainly, convenient and useful, playing in paper is really the best way to play the game, in my opinion. So there are no stakes for these matches, other than, I guess, some bragging rights if you want or something. But we're just going to play a few matches here of Modern. We are debuting this time our new 2-person playmat. As you can see, instead of having 2 separate playmats, everybody's just playing on one big one that stretches across the table. This is something I've been looking for because I may have mentioned it before on the channel. When there are 2 sitting next to each other, they have a tendency to shift apart from each other, and there's a gap or they're not aligned with each other, and it just drives me bonkers. So they have finally come out with some more of these. They're generally kind of a difficult product to find. So having this is quite nice visually for me. So who you are watching in this match here today is on your left, playing for Team Cap, if you will. We have Cam, and on your right, playing for Team Iron Man, is Elijah. So we are going to get going here in just a second. Looks like there's our life total counter. Players are shuffling up, and we'll get going. If you haven't watched any Basement FNM before, 1, welcome, and 2, do be aware that sometimes there are some delays in play because we're also just chatting and hanging out. There is at least one other match going on just on the other side of the table off camera, and so it's sometimes we get lost in the hanging out of it all, the gathering, if you will. That's kind of what happens. So bear with us, enjoy some Magic. We're getting rolling here. Looks like Cam is looking at a hand of 7. We see a land of subtlety, maybe a counterspell, another land. Looks like maybe an ephemerate. Elijah, I see a fatal push, few lands. Jason the Mind Sculptor, a counterspell. Looks like we're doing stuff. Both players lead on a Flooded Strand. Cam is going to fetch, probably get a Meticulous Archive if he is straight blue-white. Haven't seen any other colors in his hand yet. As we're going here, there is that Meticulous Archive. He's going to surveil 1, see if he likes the top card or not, before moving to his turn 2. No, neither player with an overly quick start. No turn 1 plays so far. Cam decides he doesn't want a polluted delta and follows up with a second Flooded Strand. And it looks like a pass. We're going to see a surveil as well. We did see a fail push, so maybe we're looking at blue-black. Saw a Watery Grave slip through there. Looks so far mostly Dimir on Elijah's side. Don't know if I see... I didn't notice any other colors besides those 2. So it looks like we got a blue-black and a blue-white matchup here. Elijah decides that card is fine. Looks like he draws a Snapcaster Mage, plays an island. That is the all-text island, as compared to the textless islands that you will see many of us play. Another fetch from Cam's side, second Meticulous Archive. Keeps on top this time. Felia is the draw. Windswept Heath is the play. We have an Ambush Viper mode of Snapcaster Mage, just 2 mana, 2/1 flash. Looks like Cam is going to respond. Looks like he responds with Felia. Maybe trying to just resolve the Felia when the mana is down. Looks like we're going to Fatal Push said Felia. Cam does have an Ephemerate that he could fire off. Looks like maybe he does have a Quantum Riddler in hand. Is that what I'm seeing? So we might just use the Ephemerate on the Riddler instead. Okay, so I believe this card is Donatello's Technique. Yes, I did look that up before doing this commentary. I do not know that off the top of my head. This is a sneak card, so I believe it's normally 3 mana. And it says draw 2 cards, but you can sneak it, which means you return an unblocked attacker, and then you get generally a cheaper cost, so it turns it into 1 mana. So return that Snapcaster Mage, draw 2, and we see why now the Snapcaster Mage was Ambush Vipered. Tapped Hallowed Fountain coming in on Cam's side before moving to his next turn. There is a Quantum Riddler. So Riddler's going to draw a card. Looks like a Tishana's Tidebinder, not often seen card these days. And that Riddler is going to get ephemerated. So he will draw another card that goes on rebound, threatening to draw even more. Just a Water Grave, so maybe that means only 1 Undercity Sewer in Elijah's deck. Most likely would have seen it otherwise. This is an End of the Hunt. It's a sorcery. I don't know if it says exile or sacrifice, but it's going to get the highest mana value of creature or planeswalker on the battlefield. This is a new printing in Secrets of Strixhaven or something. Some recent-ish set. But it looks like Kim does have a response. That there's a Spell Snare countering that one. Looks like we are going to rebound the Riddler and draw yet another card. Draw for turn. Fully stocked grip for Cam. Looks like we see an Aang Swift Saviors added to the slew of cards that he's got access to. There is an island drawn. This one, a no text down there, almost no text, still says the name and whatnot. But I'm going to see a Shieldred's Edict fired off now, hoping to get that Quantum Riddler out of the way. All right, so we have a counterspell battle going on here. And so it looks like counterspell on the shields. You counterspell, respond to the counterspell. Aang Swift Savior to airbend Elijah's counterspell, successfully protecting that Quantum Riddler. Counterspell is airbent. It can now be cast for 2 generic mana at some point. Quantum Riddler does a full 360 there before getting into the red zone. See a consign to memory, a subtlety, Tishana's Tidebinder. Sorry, that's my phone making a noise. If you heard that, I apologize. Subtlety, double Snapcaster Mage, Jace the Mind Sculptor, double Jace the Mind Sculptor, and maybe another counterspell in Elijah's hand. So tough to make multiple plays at this point, but here we go, Snapcaster Mage. Elijah could consign that trigger. It looks like maybe that's what he's going for. He's going to consign the Snapcaster trigger. He's going to counterspell said consign. I guess there was a fatal push, so maybe if Elijah had a land, but then the Tishana's Tidebinder is going to come down, counter the ability as well. Now Snapcaster Mage also has no abilities. Doesn't really matter. Once that ability is countered, Snapcaster Mage just is a 2-1. So board's certainly looking in Cam's favor at the moment. Got a lot of flyers in there. Yeah, I think it's a good attack. Just attack with everything. If he wants to trade off the Tidebinder, that's fine. Take a hit for 6. Put his opponent down to 8. See a Bowmaster added to Elijah's hand. Looks like maybe going for Snapcaster. Excuse me. Snapcaster Mage is going to get spell snared. Counterspell is going to maybe try to stop the spell snare. Oh, and then Ephemerate is going to blink Ang and airbend the counterspell. And then Snapcaster Mage does get snared away. We get the additional card draw. Cam plays a land, still has a subtlety and something else. I don't know if Elijah has a way to stop any of these flyers here. You can maybe stop one, but not both. Yep, looks like that is going to wrap up our first game here. Ooh, I'm sorry. All kinds of excess noise happening. Players are going to move toward sideboarding now, making some quick changes to their decks to try and tweak to be a little bit better in the next game. Once again, another noise. Sorry, I just bumped the microphone. Looks like Cam is ready. Elijah's still making some choices. Oh, we're both shuffling up here. All right, players are cutting. Drawn up 7. All right, Elijah leads Flooded Strand. Can't follow suit. We've seen this before. It's just flipped aside. Oh, so we see a Thundering Falls. So there is a third color. Curious as to what for. Looks like we drew a Snapcaster Mage. Here is a Misty Rainforest. I did sneak a peek of a Lorien revealed, I believe, in hand for Elijah. It looks like another land, another 2 lands. Snapcaster. It's maybe Shoot the Sheriff, perhaps, that I saw. A bevy of different removal spells in there. Cam will also surveil Meticulous Archive, deciding what to do with that. Decides to draw it. Draws another land. Fetch on the way back. Neither of these players really looking to be overly aggressive, both maybe a little bit more controlling. We got what is, I guess, kind of a blue-white blink sort of style deck. I think calling it blink is pretty close to accurate. It doesn't have things like Flicker Wisp that we've seen, but otherwise doing just fine. Swamp comes in now. So we see blue, blue, black, black, red available. Decides that another land is not what he's looking for. And then a Brain Surge after the Surveil. 4 cards into hand. 2 are going to go back on top. Looks like maybe a Mystical Dispute I saw is now an option. A Snapcaster Mage and 1 other are going back on bottom. And we should be going over Cam's way. Yep. There's an Aang into hand now. Island hits the land area. So maybe another swamp drawn. So double swamp. So it must be a pass and then a Felia on end step. Yep, Mystical Dispute, full price here. Can't be spell snared, can't be counterspelled, so the Felio will not resolve. Is this Cryptic Coat, I believe? I believe this is Cryptic Coat. So it's an artifact equipment that, oh god, is it manifests? Looks like we're going to consign the triggered ability of manifest the creature and then attach to it. Cryptic Coat does not have a regular equip cost, but it does have the ability to bounce itself back to the hand so you can replay it to get a new creature to attach it to. So it's interesting because I think it makes the creature unblockable, or somehow the whatever version of the creature that it puts into play is difficult to block, but it cannot attach to any other creature. Looks like maybe Elijah's hand is Kaito, Snapcaster Mage, End of the Hunt, Shoot the Sheriff, and Lorien Revealed. Cam's got a Teferi Time Raveler, which is the play at the moment. Looks like Elijah does have a response. Counterspell and Spell Snare looking to play backup. Snapcaster Mage coming in. It's probably going to get hit by the snare. Does. Probably just trying to apply some pressure to the Teferi, I believe. Looks like Teferi is going to tick up. Just says, I want this thing to have a whole bunch of life. There's a stock up is the draw. I believe End of the Hunt can get a Planeswalker. And it does exile, so I believe it just says target player, maybe target opponent, exiles the creature with the highest mana value among, or creature or planeswalker with the highest mana value they control. And then there's going to be a stock up file. He's going to look at 5, pick 2. Looks like he picks a land and is assessing. I see a Vapor Snag, a Counterspell, another End of the Hunt, and a Logic Knot. Just a pass from Cam. Counterspell added to the ranks in Elijah's hand. It's a Return of Cryptic Coat. Not sure if that can be done at instant speed or not, but Elijah wanted to make the aggressive play. It does get met by a counterspell, though. Another land and pass for Cam. Just a aggro subtlety, it looks like. Looks like it's going to meet a Snapcaster in response. It'll be a fetch. Looks like maybe we're going to have a counterspell battle happening. Yep, there's a counterspell. Looks like Aang is going to save the day. Second Aang in hand is the last card. But Elijah is out of mana. And then that subtlety is going to get countered via the Snapcaster's flashback granting ability. But Cam is tapped out for Elijah to maybe resolve something. Puts a removal spell to the forefront of his hand. It would get rid of that Aang. There is a backup Aang in Cam's hand, though. End of the hunt is targeting the opponent. Has to do it with the one with the most. It's not just a regular edict, so it is kind of forced. And then we're going to see Kaito. What will be done with Kaito? Bane of Nightmares. The zero ability is not overly useful because it would be surveilled to, but no card draw because no opponent has lost life this turn. He could use the place stun counters on the Snapcaster Mage ability. Looks like he's just going to tick up and make an emblem. That is a Ren and 6 emblem, not a Kaito Bane of Nightmares emblem, but Elijah has one instance of all ninjas gain +1/+1. So on his turn, when that Kaito is a creature, it is in fact a ninja. So it'll go from a 3/4 to a 4/5 base now. And as an emblem, it cannot be removed. That is permanent for the rest of the game. Looks like Snap is going to just knock Kaito's loyalty down a couple of notches. Tishana's Tidebinder. Swing for 4. Most likely we will see the 0 ability to draw some cards. Looks like that's probably what's happening and is being met by a Tishana's Tidebinder. So it's going to counter an activated or triggered ability. Counterspell is going to come in off airbending, and Egg is going to send it right back up into the sky. Looks like, though, maybe he can just replay it again. So it looks like the counterspell is going to end up stopping the Tishana's Tidebinder. So now Kaito will surveil to draw a card. See a Cling to Dust, and is that a Brain Surge? I think that's a Brain Surge. I think that's the art for that. Might see a removal spell on the Aang now. Shoot the Sheriff. Aang, I believe, is a sheriff because he's not an outlaw. Apparently, in Magic Universe logic, if you are not an outlaw, you are by default a sheriff. You are one of the two. So, for instance, Ragavan Nimble Pilferer, he's a pirate. He's an outlaw. He's not a sheriff. Aang, Swift Savior, sheriff. Here's a Quantum Riddler. That is a good top deck. Cam's going to be able to draw a couple more cards, Force Negation, and a land. Kaito's going to be brought down to one phone representing the proper emblem. And then the Riddler, no, Riddler was just hard cast, so it is there as a blocker. Yeah, Elijah's going to go digging. He's got 2 lands in his hand, so, and a Lorien revealed. It looks like it might be met with that Force of Negation hard cast here. Cannot pitch cast it, so he only has one card in hand. So, notable. That one should go to the exile zone. Yep, looks like they got it corrected there. So Kaido's going to surveil. Donatello's technique in a counterspell. This is just surveil 2. Oh no, maybe his opponent did lose life because he fetched. So we might still draw a card. But my guess is he was hoping to find a removal spell. To keep Kaido around. Oh. Snap block. So the Donatello's technique will not work. He's still going to draw 2 cards, no matter what. Double land. Double land is not fantastic for Elijah here. So it looks like Kaido's days are over for this game. Oh, being reminded to draw his second card. It looks like Solitude and a card I couldn't quite catch. So most likely Snapcaster at Kaido, that's what it looks like, and 4 damage toward Elijah with the Quantum Riddler. Is that a Mystical Dispute on Cam's end now? That is my best guess, Mystical Dispute. Dispute. Dispute is cast. Elijah does have the mana to pay for this. And he does have a Fatal Push to maybe, at minimum, fire off at that Snapcaster. He lets the Dispute go. I believe his hand is land, push, push. Interesting that he did not want to try to fight over his draw 3 to maybe find an answer for this Riddler. Maybe worried about some other threats coming in. Snare and Felia now added to the hand. Both fetch lands happening. Down to 4. All right, there's an island. And looks like a watery grave. Down to 2. He's going to have to basically answer everything currently left. Is he looking to cling to dust, perhaps? Looks like maybe cling to dust is going to be escaped. Is cling to dust going to go after something so he can draw a card, or is he going after creatures just to gain some life back? Brazen Borrower. I see also Fairy Mastermind. Oof. Here comes Felia. And Solitude. The hand is going aggro, just saying I'm going to put as many lethal attackers down as I can make you have to deal with all in one turn, and it's going to be difficult. Only 2 creatures as answers. So Fairy Mastermind coming into play. He's hoping to be able to draw a second card when Cam does with the Riddler, but the Mastermind is going to reach or get a Spell Snare. So let's see. We could see a Petty Theft of the Quantum Riddler. Then that's being left for 5, and so even gaining 3 with the Cling to Dust doesn't get you out of range. And so I think no, I don't know if there's any sequence of plays that this will work for, because you could Petty Theft one, like the Solitude, for instance, and then you can try to block with the Brazen Borrower and the Quantum Riddler, but there's still 2 damage left over that's being unblocked. So I don't know if there is a line here for Elijah to escape with this win. But Petty Theft is targeting the Quantum Riddler. Casting it now means the Felia can flicker it so it's not a blocker. It reveals 2 Flooded Strands. And that is going to be the end of our first match of this edition of Basement FNM. Hopefully you enjoyed watching some back and forth magic. Some very similar ideas of play in this one, so it's definitely interesting when you kind of see somebody trying to play at the same sort of pace throughout a game and do the same sort of things. It really does come down to some key points of deciding when you're going to go for something, what you're going to fight over, how you're going to try to tackle each different scenario as it comes up. Thank you for watching. If you've made it all the way to the end of this video, we appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe if you would like to see more of our content. That is the best way to let us know that, hey, you like what we're doing, and then you get those notifications or whatever in your feed about like, hey, we've got something new coming out. There will be a couple more matches of this edition of Basement FNM coming out, hopefully in the very near future. So be on the lookout for those. We also put out some podcast episodes as well of, various fun magic topics. We do have a recent episode coming your way soon as well. Not sure if that'll be before or after this video, though. But once again, thanks for watching. And until next time, everybody, keep it classy.